Welcome to Carpentry for Old Women. This episode is about gathering the materials and tools that you will need to build the sawhorses with me. I selected sawhorses as a first project because you'll use them far more than you can imagine. They're inexpensive, they can be stored in a closet, and they only require basic skills and tools. I'm going to build them on my dining room table because that's probably where you're going to be building yours. It's hard to build sawhorses with no sawhorses. Sawhorses are like that apron we had to make in home ec. I had to take home ec twice because I moved, sewing twice because we moved in the middle of the year. It required basic skills, just like the carpentry ones you're going to be learning. It required the basic use of a sewing machine. It required planning, cutting, pockets, which are a big deal, gathering, hemming, and then attaching a waistband. So kind of think of it, the apron was harder than these sawhorses. I'm going to occasionally include tidbits about just things related to working outdoors or working on carpentry, general fix-it stuff, just general stuff that I've picked up along the way. Sometimes standing in line at the hardware store, I'll get to chatting with someone else, and the next thing I know, I learned something I didn't know before. Here is a tidbit about work boots. About work boots, a friend recommended when I started out, the first thing I had to buy was a good pair of work boots, which, I mean, in 3 years I've practically worn them out just right here on the property. That's the best advice. The other thing about work boots, I think they have magical qualities, because sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm thinking about a project I'm going to do and I think, I can't do that, I don't know how to do that, I've watched 83 videos, yeah, but I just don't think I can do it. I get up in the morning, put my men's clothes on again. When I put my boots on, it's like putting on Superman's cape. All of a sudden I straighten up, remember what I've learned. It's only wood, just don't hurt yourself, but aside from that, it's screws you can put in and take out, just start. So, yes, I think work boots have magical quality. This is my personal sawhorse made to the design that I chose. I watched a whole lot of videos on how to make sawhorses, and there are all kinds of varieties, and I'll tell you, the reason I picked this one is, first of all, it's all square cuts. You don't have to have a saw or anything to cut it at an angle and make it just right. Easy peasy, least amount of tools possible. These are 2x6s. This is stuff I just had left over, and since I don't waste anything, I used it to make this. We're going to be working with 2x4s. This one is 40 inches tall because I'm tall, and I like everything to be where I work right here on my back, and I'm not just tilted forward a little bit. That can kill you in 10 minutes. It can ruin half a day's work. The other thing is that I like the way this overhangs. You see a lot of them, they do exactly like this, but they slice it off right straight. Well, you're always looking for a place to clamp something down. You've got a board up here that you want to cut, or something you're going to paint, draw pictures on, whatever, and you want it to stay still. So I like where these stick out, because then you've always got a place to put a clamp. Okay. Hand over, remember, save your hand. That's left-handed even, I can do that. I try to go back and forth, by the way, with my hands as much as I can, just to keep them both strong. Okay, this was carefully designed by me and a million other people on YouTube to be exactly table height, what we're building here. This is padded up with some stuff, so it looks a little tight, but it is exactly, what did I say, 29 inches? Is that right? Let's see what it is. 29 inches. So that means you could put something on top of this and use it as a table or a desk or whatever, because you're at the perfect height for it. I'll show you that in a little bit. There are a couple of basic things you'll need to know. You're going to be building sawhorses out of 2x4 material. This is this, and a length. I cut these to do a project, so they're 15 inches or something. Here's the thing about 2x4s. They're not 2x4. Of course not. They are 1.5 by 3.5. Nevertheless, they are always called 2x4s. If you go to the store and say, I want some 1.5 by 3.5, they'll either act like they don't know what you're talking about, or they'll just snicker. So it's just one of those things. So when you go to the store to buy a 2x4, you'll get a 1.5 by 3.5 by 8 feet, and that's a true measurement. 10 feet, 12 feet, 14, like that. You just gotta know that to speak the language of carpentry. To build the sawhorses, these are the parts that you'll need. You need, and I say 2x4, now that you understand a 2x4 is not a 2x4, so I'm going to be telling you lengths. It's all 2x4s. This piece and this piece are 32 inches. This piece and each of 4 legs is 29 inches. Each one is, or whatever. So you could tell the people that you're going to get to cut the wood that that's what you need. 2 times 32 and 5 times 29. You will probably, unless you know somebody that has a saw like mine, be getting somebody else, like a store, to cut these for you. There are some stores that say, no, we'll cut it in half, we'll put it in your car, but that's it. And then there are others that will cut it to the lengths that you want. Typically, the more mom and pop stores in your community will be more helpful to you. So get these cut by somebody else. By the way, keep all the scraps. Whatever is left over, keep the scraps, because you're going to want some scraps to practice on. The next thing is the tools that you'll need, and in the picture you'll see I use 2 electric screwdrivers. These are cordless. This is the one tool that I say you got to have cordless no matter what else. We can talk about having cords on other ones, but right now I have one little $25 Black & Decker one that I just keep a drill bit in, and I use that to drill pilot holes, which you'll see later. This somewhat bigger one, Black & Decker, is very, very popular. It costs about $90 or so, and often comes with a pack of other tools with it, like bits and pliers and that sort of thing. You'll need a tape measure, just because in your carpenter you always have a tape measure. You'll need a speed square. get yourself a speed square, get a good metal one, don't get a plastic one. In fact, I'll say with all the tools, get or borrow, even better, the best tools you can get. These tools come on battery chargers, and so you need to keep one on the charger all the time. I'm also showing you the type of screw that I like. The brand I don't think matters so much, but this one says exterior screws. That's it. I just always get exterior screws. Why not? I like, notice this, that the part in the top of the screw has what's called a star drive. It's like an asterisk. You have to have the matching bits to go with it. I like them because it's very hard to strip them. They tend to be good quality, which means they don't strip out. If you've ever tried to get a screw out of anything and then all of a sudden the metal's so soft that you can't even turn it, that you just want to just walk away in disgust, get good screws, get good bits. This little bit shown in the picture here, well, it's a group of bits. I found that little collection of bits at I guess it was a 41 lumber store, and it's great because it fits in your pocket, and even if you change the size of the screw with the project that you're doing, you always have the right bit right there in your pocket. So that's my favorite. You can get all kinds of argument from all of your friends about everything that you see in this video, but I'm just telling you, and I'm reminding you, this is not a how-to video. It's where I've come to after 3 years of learning everything on YouTube videos, typically YouTube or, well, YouTube typically, and then I just try it, and then I eventually do it. And most of the stuff that I've done, I might have undone, unscrewed, put it back 3 or 4 times, but ultimately it works, and it will work for you too. In our next episode, you'll see me putting these together. I hope not to leave any details out, and I hope not to bore you to death, but at the end of it, I will end up with a pair of sawhorses. And you can watch this video until you end up with a pair of sawhorses too. This is about having fun. I'd like to thank Burning Point Sessions for providing the music. Please hit the subscribe button so I can let you know when the next segment posts. It doesn't cost you anything.